Hi guys, this is Klazart bringing another audio commentary, and this time I'm commentating on the OSL Week 1 matchup between KTF Flash and SK Team 1 Rumble. And this is the OSL, this is big. I have done a triple commentary on a couple of the other games with Diggity and Moletrap, so you guys should check that out on Voltec's account. I think they went pretty well. I think we had a good system worked out. But anyway, I've decided to take this one solo. So looking forward to this matchup, really looking forward to seeing what Flash is capable of this season. He's an exciting player, and probably, unfortunately, the only really exciting player left in KTF who are going through a torrid time of it at the moment, losing some of their pros, especially Choja. But Ra's still in it, and he'll be playing in the MSL in a day or two, so it'll be interesting to see what he can come up with. And I'm hoping to see something more from Reach at some stage as well, because I really think that he's too good a player to not come back at some stage or the other. I don't really know much about Rumble. He's a bit of a no-name player to me. I mean, he regularly features for SK Team 1, I believe, in their 2v2 in the Pro League. He's a decent player, and now he seems to be coming into his own as a single Zerg player. We have seen other players like Yellow, for example, in the past, who started out primarily as 2v2ers before developing their 1v1 game. So I guess Terran versus Zerg not being Flash's most strongest matchup, it'll be interesting to see how Rumble copes with him on this, though Flash is definitely one of the up-and-coming enigmatic players around. Also interesting, obviously, is this is the first time I'm going to be seeing Troy in action. I believe this is probably the first game on Troy, this new map, and a very unique and interesting map design with the two assimilators. I would have to say that it wouldn't be something that would fill me with wondrous excitement as a Terran player, if I was a Terran player or a Terran supporter, because the fact that those two assimilators being destroyed narrows to not allow siege tanks through, that's a real bummer. And just a fast expansion going down for Rumble here, looks like he's gone for a 12 hatch indeed, and he's put that expansion at his natural, and is overall taking a considerable amount of time to get across, even though he started off in the 5 o'clock position and Flash is, he started off at the 7 and Flash in the 11 o'clock position. His overall still hasn't seen that base, so he's sending that drone out to scout, so maybe he's either miscalculating or just doesn't want to be caught off guard. And interesting enough, Flash is putting the second barracks down, so Flash going with the 2 racks build, so we might see an early-ish push coming here from Flash. Those units should be able to get through between the assimilators. As I said, later on in the game, tanks will prevent units from... The tanks might not be able to get through once those assimilators are destroyed. If you build your factory there, and that's really going to slow the turn down a lot. And I think it's good for Rumble that he's scouting with the drone, but I think his overlord is going to see Flash sooner rather than later, and going to see that push coming. And it's going to be interesting to see whether or not he's actually going to be able to defend this. If he can defend this, then he should be okay in the game. He's putting that spawning pool up, certainly. So I think it's good that he didn't go for the 3rd hatchery before that spawning pool, because if he had, I think he would have been in a lot more trouble. As it is, I think probably Rumble will see this coming in time and be able to defend against it. Flash, despite having gone for the 2 racks, it looks like he's actually setting up to build a command center there. So I thought with the 2 racks he was destined to be pushing out quite early on in this game, but it looks like he's actually going to use the 2 racks to buy himself some time and then go for the command center rather than get that fast academy up. But nevertheless, with that 2 racks, he should be able to put a little bit of pressure on the Zerg player and maybe force him to spend some resources on Sunkens. So and the other interesting thing is that it seems to be that the Overlord coverage time on this new map Troy seems to be quite long, because by the time that Overlord actually got over there, he wasn't really able to do any significant scouting, other than he would be able to scout the opponent's natural expo. He didn't really get a chance to scout the main because those Marines were out in time to ward that off. Flash is now blocked off the choke between the 2 assimilators, and he is indeed putting that academy down. So he did have that SCV out in his natural, but he's still managed to get that academy out quite quickly, and it looks like he has not gone for that natural expo. He had that SCV sitting there, and I thought the reason he had that SCV was because he was going to put down quite perplexingly a command center, which didn't make sense to me at all, and indeed Flash is not doing that. So Flash is blocked off his choke, and Rumble's got to anticipate something coming here from Flash. I don't think Rumble is invested in that 3rd hatchery, in that 3rd expansion, and Rumble, interesting enough, taking out a couple of assimilators, just narrowing the gap in the middle of the map there. I'm not sure what the purpose of that is. Flash now venturing out with only a handful of Marines and that medic. He's killed off that first Zergling. I don't think Rumble would have seen that. I don't think Flash also has had time to research the stims yet, but Rumble, interesting enough, has put that 1 sunken, and probably 1 sunken is probably enough with a handful of Zerglings to hold off that small group that Flash is sending out. Those assimilators are up there. Flash is now going to be able to pressure, and Rumble actually being pressured into putting those 2 sunkens down, so decent play by Flash, pressuring his opponent into putting those second sunkens down. I'm still very interested to see where exactly he puts his factory down when he does it, because of the position of those assimilators, and Flash with the comsat going off. He's got a couple of firebats out as well, his units wandering down. I'm sure he has stim research by now. now. But I think Rumble has more than enough to cope with this early push by Flash. The key though is that Rumble has been forced to invest in at least 3 Sunkans. I'm still yet to see, and he has indeed got that third hatchery up. So I wasn't sure if Rumble was gonna do that, but it looks like he's gone for that third hatchery. For his third hatchery, not in his main, not in his expansion, but actually at the 9 o'clock position. So that's an interesting choice of strategy by Rumble. If it works out for him, I think it'll be good because it's going to give him that extra gas early on, and he's really going to pull ahead unless Flash can do some damage here. And this is why Rumble was destroying those 2 assimilators. And I had an inkling about it, but I wasn't 100% sure. But the reason Flash was destroying those 2 assimilators was to actually prevent Rumble from really getting in, because we really don't know what can actually get through once those 2 assimilators are taken out, since this is the first time we're seeing this match. Flash now going for his command center, but Rumble has now taken out those 2 assimilators. He's left a couple of Zerglings on the inside, and the question really remains whether or not anything can actually get through those 2 extractors, and how that's gonna actually affect the game from Rumble's point of view in terms of being able to defend that. Certainly Flash had the early academy down, but since then he's chosen to now go for the command center, realizing that he wasn't able to do any damage to Rumble, and Rumble has got the economic advantage. The question is whether or not Flash has actually been able to do a comsat scan on that 9 o'clock position. He would have no reason to really suspect Rumble going for that unless he sees those extractors have been destroyed, and maybe that will give him a little bit of a hint. Rumble has now got 4 Sunkans down at his natural expo. He's also got his lair tech up, and I'm interested. I'm guessing he's probably going to put a spire down and go for some Mutilus Harass. Flash, I don't think, has an engineering bay up yet, and having gone for that command center relatively late, I think it would be something that he would be vulnerable to. And it looks like the spire is now only being started. That lair was up a little while ago, so Rumble only now starting that spire up. And I think Rumble is in a decent position. Flash seems to have map control for now. Flash sent that SCV to scout. It looks like that SCV actually hasn't been able to get through. Either it hasn't been able to get through, or Flash is not microing it. My guess would be that the SCV cannot get through, and if an SCV can't get through, I don't think that Medic and Marine Force would be able to either. So that's certainly a very interesting strategy that Zerg players seem to be able to use on this map, with their ability to expand so fast so early in the game, and with Zerglings being smaller units. I'm not even sure if Zerglings can get through. A lot of speculation here, but it definitely seems to be early on a map that would favor the Zerg player. Flash now has got that engineering bay up in anticipation of that spire, and Rumble already able to tech to Hive, so really fast Hive tech here from Rumble. Are we going to see some sort of a Guardian build from the Zerg player in this match? That'll be interesting to see. Flash has not really been able to exert too much more pressure on his opponent. He's content to macro as well. He's putting up his 4th and 5th racks now. He hasn't looked like he's gone for a factory, so it doesn't look like he's going for a straight up push. It looks like he's going for a bio build, and that does seem to be the case on maps like this, on these large expansion. Flash now going in up the ramp, and that's the other thing, is that those Sunkans are actually up the ramp. Rumble only has 3 Sunkans in line. Those 2 Sunkans are behind. Flash with the large medical reinforce, he's managed to kill off 2 of the Sunkans. Rumble brings drones out, but Rumble still has got about 4 Sunkans left. Flash with more reinforcements coming in. I don't think Flash is actually going to be able to break this defense. Rumble actually losing a lot of drones there. This is critically bad for Rumble. He didn't have enough Zerglings. Flash looks like he's actually going to be able to almost break this defense. He takes down another Sunken, and it's just Rumble just survives with his remaining 2 Sunken. Flash losing the last of his medical marines.